The dawn of the wedding day didn't bring the usual radiance to the dreamy Tuscan hills of Italy. A pale, cold golden light seeped through the antique oak window frames of the Villa Rossi farmhouse, an ominous sign for the momentous day I had longed for. The towering cypress trees lining the hillside, usually symbols of eternity and peace, stood eerily still, as if holding their breath awaiting a storm brewing beneath the deep blue Mediterranean sky. I stood before the intricately carved full-length mirror, my trembling fingers fastening the simple pearl earrings, a small wedding gift from Alessandro, my soon-to-be husband. Deep within my heart, a vague unease stirred, a cold sensation creeping down my spine, despite the outward calm I tried to project. After a bitter marriage in America, filled with lies and soul-crushing loneliness, I had never dared to believe in complete happiness, in a love without calculation. Alessandro had arrived like a warm breeze from the south, soothing wounds that had seemed eternally open, but could this miracle withstand the encroaching darkness, the shadow cast by Signor Rossi, Alessandro's father? Piece by painful piece from my old life, I had gathered myself and brought Leo and me to this land, building a makeshift home. I had learned to rely on my own shoulders, telling myself that fairy tales existed only in faded Renaissance paintings. Then Alessandro appeared, with a smile as bright as the Tuscan sun and eyes as sincere as a starlit night, shattering the icy walls I had painstakingly constructed to protect my heart. He didn't promise grand gestures. He simply stayed by my side, sharing joys and sorrows, accepting even the wounded corners of my soul. His love was like a gentle river flowing through the hills, slowly watering my heart, healing scars that had seemed indelible. Leo, my son, had loved Alessandro from the first moment. He found in him a friend, a father figure he had always yearned for. They became kindred spirits, exploring the endless vineyards, the verdant olive groves, and whispering secrets about building a knight's fortress in the small woods behind the farmhouse. Watching them together filled my heart with a bittersweet joy, a warmth that spread through my entire being. But somewhere deep down, I still felt a cold gaze watching, a shadow looming over the approaching happiness, a look of power and suspicion. Signor Rossi, Alessandro's father. From the very beginning, he had made no secret of his disapproval of this marriage. In his eyes, I was merely a foreign woman, a single mother without a distinguished family, trying to climb too high to seize the wealth and reputation of the esteemed Rossi family, a family with a long history and deep influence in the region. His blessings during the introductory family dinner held in the family's magnificent villa were laced with bitterness and contempt disguised beneath a veneer of polite remarks and cold glances. He always kept his distance, engaging only with members of the aristocracy and powerful business associates, completely ignoring Leo and me. I tried to convince myself that it didn't matter, that Alessandro's and Leo's love was all I needed to build a happy family in this land. But every time Signor Rossi's sharp eyes met mine from across the long dining table, a cold unease tightened its grip on my heart, like a warning of the storm brewing within my future husband's own family. The wedding venue was the breathtaking upper garden of Villa Rossi, offering a sweeping view of the rolling hills and vineyards stretching to the horizon. Twinkling fairy lights were strung between fragrant lemon trees, creating a magical and romantic atmosphere beneath the starry night sky. The long banquet table was adorned with pristine white roses and the Rossi family's antique china, the flickering candlelight casting a warm and elegant glow. I wore a snow-white lace wedding dress, designed by a renowned Florentine couturier, which embraced my figure perfectly, making me feel like a princess stepping out of an ancient painting. Even though my heart still held a persistent worry about the unspoken opposition from Alessandro's father. As I walked down the aisle strewn with white rose petals, Alessandro stood at the end of the path, his elegant black suit highlighting his handsome, romantic features. The look in his eyes held a deep love and boundless admiration, dispelling all doubt and anxiety within me. Our vows were not ornate, but sincere and moving, built upon shared experiences and the hardships we had overcome in this foreign land. We promised to love, respect, and forgive each other for a lifetime, building a happy future on the foundation of trust and shared understanding beneath the vast Tuscan sky. During the cocktail hour, laughter and lively chatter filled the air as friends and family from all corners of the world gathered, sharing our joy. Leo, my son, held Alessandro's hand tightly, his face beaming with a happy smile. Glasses clinked merrily and soft music drifted through the romantic setting. In that moment, it seemed as if all the pain of the past had vanished, replaced by a hopeful anticipation for a bright future in this new land. But then the joyful atmosphere was suddenly shattered by a cold and malicious voice. As everyone raised their glasses in a toast to our happiness, Senior Rossi unexpectedly stood up. His face contorted, slowly turning a deathly ashen gray. His eyes locked onto mine, filled with an unconcealed hatred and contempt. A terrifying silence descended upon the entire space. He snatched the microphone from Alessandro's best friend, who was about to deliver a heartfelt toast, his trembling fingers gripping it tightly, as if holding a dangerous weapon poised to strike me. "I believe everyone here needs to know the truth." Senior Rossi's voice, sharp and venomous, echoed through the deathly silence, shattering the veneer of civility he had maintained for so long. "My son. He has been blinded by the appearance of this foreign woman. She is nothing but a gold digger, a viper trying to slither into the esteemed Rossi family to seize our wealth and steal my son's future." The entire garden seemed to freeze under the pale moonlight. Smiles vanished and the glasses in hands faltered. Hundreds of eyes turned towards me, no longer filled with well wishes, but with suspicion, judgment, and even disgust. A surge of anger flared within me, but I fought to suppress it to keep my face impassive. I wouldn't give him the satisfaction of seeing my weakness, wouldn't allow him to gloat over my pain. Alessandro stood frozen beside me, his face ashen, his dark eyes filled with horror and confusion. He squeezed my hand tightly as if trying to reassure me, but he himself was trembling before his father's cruelty and malice. Senior Rossi continued, his voice growing increasingly bitter and venomous, like a poisonous wind sweeping through the verdant vineyards. "She is a fraud, a woman with a failed marriage in her past, a child of questionable parentage. She is not worthy of our family, not worthy of my son, the sole heir to the Rossi legacy." His words were like daggers piercing my heart, tearing through the fragile shield I had tried to build in this foreign land. The painful secrets of my past were brutally exposed before all these strangers. I felt ashamed, humiliated, and deeply wounded, as if stripped bare before a judging crowd. But then amidst the suffocating silence, a small but resolute voice rang out, like a ray of light piercing the darkness beneath the Tuscan sky. Leo, my son, had stepped forward. His young face no longer held its usual innocent charm, but instead displayed a remarkable seriousness and determination, his bright blue eyes fixed on Senior Rossi, unwavering in the face of his anger. "No," Leo's clear but firm voice echoed in the stillness. "My mom is not like that. My mom is the best person in the whole world." Senior Rossi sneered, a cold and Brisrania-filled smile twisting his lips, as if a child's words were beneath his notice. "The little brat knows nothing. He's just a puppet dancing on his mother's strings. He understands nothing of this family, of what is at stake." But Leo didn't flinch under his grandfather's scorn. He took another step towards Senior Rossi, his bright blue eyes blazing with a childish but resolute anger. "No. I heard everything. I heard you talking to another woman in your study. You said loving things to her, things you never say to Nana. And you lied to Nana, saying you were at the club's wine tasting, but you were really meeting that woman in Florence." A loud crash echoed as Nana Elena, Alessandro's mother, dropped her crystal champagne flute. Red wine splashed across the ancient marble paving stones of the garden terrace. Her face went ashen, her deep blue eyes wide with shock and pain, staring at Senior Rossi as if she had just witnessed a ghost materialize in broad daylight. "Carlo." Her voice trembled, a choked sob struggling to escape. Is this the truth? All these years, all the promises, everything we built together on the foundation of this family, just a vile, deceitful charade?" Senior Rossi froze, his ashen face flushing crimson with rage and shame. He tried to deny it, to stammer out excuses, but the utter devastation in his wife's eyes and the unwavering, accusatory gaze of his grandson laid bare all the lies he had so carefully constructed. But Leo wasn't finished. He looked directly at his grandfather, his small voice carrying an even darker secret, one he had inadvertently witnessed during the long, silent nights at Villa Rossi, a secret that had planted a seed of fear deep within his young heart. "That's not all, Nano," Leo continued, his voice trembling but still loud enough for everyone in the deathly silent garden to hear. I also saw you do something very bad to Nana. One night, I woke up because of a strange noise and I saw you. You pushed Nana down the stone steps leading to the wine cellar." Leo's words caught in his throat, and he looked at Nana Elena with tear-filled eyes, full of fear and sympathy. Nana Elena gasped, clutching Leo to her chest, hot tears streaming down her pale cheeks. A heartbroken sob tore through the tense atmosphere, echoing against the ancient stone walls of Villa Rossi. The entire garden plunged into a terrifying silence, heavy as a black shroud. Every eye was fixed on Signor Rossi, awaiting an explanation, a denial. But his face was deathly white, his lips moved soundlessly, his eyes reflecting utter panic, like a trapped animal cornered. Then, another voice cut through the dreadful silence, cold and filled with bitter resentment. It was Isabella, the woman Signor Rossi had been secretly calling and meeting in Florence. She stepped out of the shadows of an ancient olive grove, her beautiful face now etched with fury and sorrow. "Yes," Isabella said, her voice as sharp as a blade, her hateful gaze locked on Signor Rossi. "I am the woman Carlo has been secretly seeing for years. He promised me everything, lied to his wife, betrayed her trust and mine. He painted a beautiful future in Florence, promised to leave his wife for me. All just vile lies to conceal his selfishness and cruelty." Isabella's confession was like an earthquake, shaking the very foundations of the Rossi family, shattering every false pretense Signor Rossi had so carefully built. The dark truth was finally exposed, not only about Signor Rossi's contempt for me, but also about his ruthless betrayal of the woman who had shared his life and sacrificed for him for so many years, and his exploitation of another woman's affections. Nana Elena released Leo, stepping towards Signor Rossi. Her face no longer showed pain, but instead a terrifying resolve and cold fury, like Mount Vesuvius rumbling before an eruption. "Carlo," Nana Elena's voice was glacial, each word like an icy stone falling onto the pavement. "I never imagined you could be such a man. All these years. All the false declarations of love. All my sacrifices for this family. Were they all meaningless? You deceived me, betrayed me, and even. You tried to kill me by pushing me down those cellar steps." Her voice broke, her eyes glistening but no tears fell. The pain in her heart seemed to have frozen into an eternal block of ice. Signor Rossi reached out to grasp his wife's hand, pleading for forgiveness with his desperate eyes, but Nana Elena recoiled, her gaze filled with unconcealed disgust and fury. "Don't touch me," she said, her voice trembling but filled with bitter resentment. "It's over, Carlo. Between us, there is nothing left but my disgust and your belated regret." That night there were no sweet toasts, no romantic dances under the Tuscan moon. The wedding reception ended in chaos and heartbreak. The guests quietly departed, carrying with them the dark secrets that had been revealed, horrifying tales of a once seemingly perfect family. Alessandro held me tightly, his face etched with remorse and sorrow. "I am so sorry, Sarah," he choked out, his voice trembling with shame and pain. "I had no idea. I can't believe my father." I held him close, fighting back the tears that threatened to overwhelm me. "It's all right, Alessandro," I whispered, my own voice trembling. "The important thing is that the truth has come to light. We will get through this, I believe it." But this truth had left deep scars on everyone's souls. The seemingly unbreakable marriage of Alessandro's parents had shattered like a crystal vase dropped on stone. Signor Rossi faced the contempt and alienation of his family and friends, the career and reputation he had painstakingly built crumbling to dust. Isabella vanished from their lives, taking with her the secrets and the betrayal, leaving behind a painful void and a bitter lesson in trust. Leo, my son, became an unwitting hero, but what he witnessed that night, the image of the grandfather he loved pushing his grandmother down the wine cellar steps, had planted a seed of fear and haunting memories in his young heart beneath the windswept Tuscan sky. We left Villa Rossi late that night, under a cold and lonely moon, the chirping of crickets echoing from the olive groves. The future stretched before us, uncertain and fraught with pain. But I knew that, no matter what happened, Alessandro and I would face it together. Our love, though newly blossomed in this land, had already weathered a violent storm, and I believed it would be strong enough to overcome the darkness of family secrets and wounded hearts. But deep within my heart, I would never forget the utter devastation in Nana Elena's eyes and the trembling, fearful voice of Leo as he recounted what he had witnessed that fateful night. The night the darkest secret was revealed had forever changed all of our lives beneath the Tuscan sky, leaving indelible scars on the ancient stone walls and in the hearts of each of us. And I knew that these scars would continue to ache for a long time, reminding us of the shadows that can lurk behind the most beautiful facades and the sweetest promises. The days following the harrowing wedding night passed slowly and heavily, like thick olive oil drizzling over cold stone. Villa Rossi, once filled with laughter and celebratory toasts, now lay shrouded in an eerie and oppressive silence, broken only by the soft whistling of the wind through the towering cypress trees, like the mournful sighs of a decaying family. Alessandro remained by my side, his warm and steady presence the only beacon in the storm that had just ravaged my life. He held me tightly each night, trying to soothe the wounds inflicted by his own family, wounds as deep as the cracks in Villa Rossi's ancient stone walls. But I knew that in his dark, soulful eyes lay an unspeakable pain, a relentless torment as he confronted the brutal truth about the father he had always respected and loved. Nana Elena moved temporarily to a small house owned by the family in the nearby town of Siena. Her face was gaunt and weary, her deep blue eyes holding a profound sadness as vast as the mountain lakes. She spoke little, mostly sitting by the window, gazing at the terracotta rooftops and cobblestone streets, as if searching for a glimmer of hope in the darkness that now enveloped her life. Leo called Nana frequently, his innocent and loving voice a balm to her shattered heart, like a wild flower blooming on barren rock. Signor Rossi left Villa Rossi in solitude and shame, a ghost wandering through the sprawling vineyards he had once proudly owned. No one in the family wanted contact with him. His once powerful friends and wealthy business associates gradually distanced themselves, like dry leaves falling from branches in the winter wind. The harsh truth had stripped him of everything he had once valued: family, reputation, power, and respect. As for Isabella, after that fateful night, she vanished from Tuscany like a fleeting breeze through golden wheat fields. No one knew where she went or what she did. Perhaps she too was just a victim in Signor Rossi's cruel charade. A woman used and hurt, carrying her own silent scars. My life with Alessandro was no longer the serene picture of sunsets over the Tuscan hills. Though our love remained as strong as the ancient olive trees rooted deep in the earth, the terrifying aftershocks of the wedding night continued to ripple through our relationship, like small cracks spreading across a precious ceramic vase. I felt an invisible distance growing between me and Alessandro's extended family, the judging glances and hushed whispers of his aristocratic relatives, however subtle, enough to make me feel like an outsider, wounded in this foreign land. One evening, while Alessandro was working late at the family's winery, I sat alone in Villa Rossi's grand living room, gazing at the unframed wedding photos resting on the intricately carved wooden table. The radiant faces of Alessandro and me in those pictures seemed to belong to another world, a beautiful and happy world that had shattered like a crystal glass dropped on the cold marble floor. I wondered if we could mend these cracks, if our love was strong enough to overcome the darkness of family secrets and wounded hearts. The antique telephone on the table rang, pulling me from my reverie. It was Nana Elena. Her voice was weak and trembling, like a dry leaf rustling in the wind. Sarah Cara, she whispered my name with her gentle but sorrowful Italian accent. I need to see you. There is something very important. Something I have kept hidden in my heart for many years. A sense of foreboding washed over me, a cold shadow spreading through my heart. Of course, Nana. Where would you like to meet? We arranged to meet at a small quiet cafe tucked away in a cobbled alley in Siena, where vibrant geraniums adorned the ancient stone walls. When I arrived, Nana Elena was already waiting at a table overlooking the bustling yet timeless Piazza del Campo. Her face was pale, her eyes sunken from sleepless nights, but her gaze held a newfound determination. Grazie for coming, Cara, she said, her voice hoarse as rustling leaves. There is something I have kept hidden in my heart for so many years, a dark secret that has haunted my sleepless nights. I believe now is the time you should know the truth about Carlo and about Leo. My heart pounded in my chest, like a trapped bird. I felt a terrible truth about to be revealed. A secret that could completely alter my and Leo's lives in this land. What is it, Nana? I asked softly, trying to keep my voice steady, but my hands had turned icy cold. Nana Elena took a deep breath, her deep blue eyes gazing far out into the piazza, where crowds of tourists flocked to admire Siena's ancient beauty. It concerns Carlo and Leo. A shadow has fallen over this family for too long, and it is time for the light to dispel it. I froze. Leo? What could possibly connect my son and Signor Rossi? A chilling fear spread through my entire being. Do you remember the wedding night? Nana Elena continued, her voice trembling like a falling dry leaf. When Leo said he saw Carlo push me down the stone steps to the wine cellar. I nodded, the memory of that horrifying moment still vivid. Signor Rossi's face contorted with rage and Leo's young eyes wide with terror. It wasn't an accident. Nana Elena said, her voice growing as cold as Villa Rossi's ancient stone walls. Carlo did it deliberately. He tried to kill me to conceal his sins. My mouth fell open, unable to comprehend what I was hearing. No, it's impossible, Signor Rossi. It is the truth, Nana Elena affirmed, her eyes reflecting a profound sorrow, a bitter disappointment. He had been having an affair with Isabella for a long time. He wanted me gone so he could be with her freely, so no one could stand in the way of his deceitful life. That night I accidentally overheard his phone call with Isabella in the study. I confronted him. And he pushed me. Tears welled in my eyes, unable to fathom the cruelty and malice of the man I had tried to respect, my future father-in-law. But how did Leo know? I asked, my voice choked with emotion, grasping for a sliver of hope. Nana Elena sighed, a heavy sigh that carried the weight of years of endured pain. Leo, he is very sensitive and more intelligent than his years. That night he woke up because of a strange noise and saw everything from the darkened hallway. But he was too young to fully understand the truth. He only knew that Nano had hurt Nana. And then, Nana Elena revealed an even more horrifying secret, a dark truth that had sown fear in her heart for so many years. There is something else, Sarah, something concerning Leo and Carlo. Another shadow much darker. A chilling fear spread through my entire body like icy fingers tightening around my heart. What is it, Nana? Nana Elena looked at me with eyes filled with compassion and regret, her deep blue eyes glistening with tears. Carlo, he didn't just treat me cruelly. He also behaved inappropriately with Leo when he was younger, things a grandfather should never do to his grandson. I froze like a stone statue in the bustling Piazza del Campo. Nana Elena's words struck me like a physical blow, stealing my breath. I couldn't believe this horrifying truth. No, it's impossible, I stammered, tears streaming down my face. What did he do to my son? Please tell me. Nana Elena grasped my hands, her frail, aged hands trembling. Carlo, he took advantage of Leo's innocence and trust. She couldn't finish the sentence. Choked sobs racking her body, hot tears rolling down her wrinkled cheeks. I felt the world around me collapsing, the ancient stone walls of Siena seeming to sway. This horrific truth was worse than anything I could have imagined. Signor Rossi, the powerful and respected man in everyone's eyes, was a monster in disguise, a sick individual who had dared to harm my innocent son. A searing rage surged through me, a fire burning away all fear. I wanted to scream, to tear everything apart, to protect Leo from this horrifying darkness. How could one man be so cruel and ruthless? How could I have trusted a family that harbored such a terrifying and disgusting secret? Nana Elena looked at me with eyes filled with pain and remorse, tears still flowing freely down her face. I am so sorry, Sarah. I was too weak, too afraid to speak the truth sooner. I was afraid of breaking the family, of hurting Alessandro. But now it is too late. We must do something. I squeezed Nana Elena's hands, trying to contain the burning fury within me. We have to expose him, Nana. We have to protect Leo. We cannot let him continue to live in the shadows and harm others. Nana Elena nodded, a newfound resolve hardening her gaze, a flame of defiance flickering in her deep blue eyes. Yes, Sarah. We must fight together. We must bring light to this darkness. In that moment, in the small cafe in Siena, I knew that this battle had just begun. We would have to confront the darkness, the horrifying secrets, and the powerful forces trying to conceal the truth. But we would not be alone. We had each other, and we had the boundless love for Leo, our greatest strength, stronger than the ancient stone walls and the darkest secrets of the Rossi family. After the harrowing meeting with Nana Elena in Siena, I returned to Villa Rossi with a heavy heart and a seething mind. The horrifying truth about Signor Rossi not only filled me with disgust, but also ignited a profound fear for Leo. My son, as innocent and bright as an angel, had endured terrible things he should never have known. Shadows that had darkened his beautiful childhood. I recounted everything Nana Elena had revealed to Alessandro. At first he couldn't believe what he was hearing. His face paled like the white plaster of the ancient walls, his deep brown eyes filled with disbelief and pain. He tried to deny it, to find a logical explanation, some terrible misunderstanding. But seeing Nana's tearful distress and the unwavering conviction in her voice shattered his denial. The brutal truth crashed down on Alessandro like a storm sweeping through the endless vineyards. The father he had always respected, the man he had always seen as a role model of success and authority, was revealed to be a cruel and sick individual, a monster in the guise of a nobleman. Grief and fury tore at his soul, leaving him speechless. He held Leo and me tightly, hot tears streaming down his sun-kissed cheeks, tears of shame, of pain, and of profound compassion. "I'm so sorry," he finally choked out, his voice hoarse as pebbles rolling on a stone path. "I'm so sorry, Sarah. I'm so sorry, Leo. I was so blind I didn't see his true face. I don't deserve." We decided we had to act, to end the reign of darkness. We couldn't remain silent and allow Signor Rossi to continue committing such terrible crimes, to keep sowing fear and destroying the lives of innocent people. We had to expose his true nature to the light of justice and protect Leo from any further harm. Nana Elena, despite her age and frail health, showed remarkable strength and determination. She had gathered some evidence of Signor Rossi's past wrongdoings, the lies, the cruel actions, and even the shady financial transactions he had secretly moved offshore. We decided to report everything to the Carabinieri in Siena, the authorities responsible for investigating such serious cases. The day we went to the Carabinieri headquarters, an ancient building with thick stone walls and arched windows, the atmosphere was heavy and tense. Nana Elena tremblingly recounted what she had endured for so many years, her voice breaking when she spoke of Signor Rossi's depraved actions towards Leo, the disgusting words and the haunting touches. I sat beside her, holding her frail hand tightly, trying to give her strength and resolve. Alessandro stood behind us, his gaze steady and determined, like a dormant volcano awaiting the day of eruption. Leo nestled close to me, his bright blue eyes still holding a flicker of fear, but he was brave enough to face the truth. The Carabinieri officer listened carefully, meticulously recording every detail of our testimony, his eyes betraying shock and outrage as he heard the horrifying revelations. When we presented the evidence Nana Elena had collected, the secret documents and the testimonies of anonymous witnesses, the officer became very serious. "We will conduct a thorough investigation," the officer said after reviewing the evidence, his voice deep and responsible. "If what you are saying is true, then this is a very serious matter, and we will ensure that justice is served." The following days were long and agonizing, days when the Tuscan sky itself seemed to have turned somber and bleak. We lived in anxiety and fear, constantly worried that Signor Rossi might use his power and connections to escape or even harm us. Alessandro remained by our side, never leaving us for a moment, his eyes always watchful and ready to face any danger. Finally, the antique telephone in Villa Rossi rang, shattering the tense silence. It was news from the Carabinieri. They had enough evidence to arrest Signor Rossi. When they arrived at his villa in Florence, he had tried to flee, using secret passages known only to long-standing members of the family, but he was eventually apprehended. Seeing the patrol car drive away with Signor Rossi, his hands cuffed behind his back, I felt a flicker of relief, like a heavy burden had been lifted, but the pain and fury still simmered within me, like the embers after a large fire. The trial of Signor Rossi took place shortly thereafter in the ancient courthouse in Siena, where stern statues of past judges looked down upon the fates of mortals. Nana Elena's heartbreaking testimony, my tearful account, and even Leo's courageous but haunting words moved everyone in the courtroom to shock and outrage. Signor Rossi tried to plead innocent, using the best lawyers to defend him, but the irrefutable evidence, the consistent testimonies, and the tears of those he had harmed laid bare his true nature. Finally, the gavel fell, sentencing Signor Rossi to a severe punishment for the crimes he had committed, a just verdict for the pain he had inflicted on his family and on innocent lives. Justice, though delayed, was finally served beneath the Tuscan sky. After the trial, Nana Elena decided to divorce Signor Rossi. She wanted to start a new life, a life free from the shadow of that cruel man, free from the terrifying nightmares of the past. She sold the large house in Florence and moved to a small, peaceful farmhouse near Villa Rossi, nestled among the vineyards. We became a true family, sharing warm dinners by candlelight and the joys and sorrows of everyday life. Leo gradually overcame the trauma of the past. With the unwavering love and care of Alessandro and me, he returned to being the innocent and cheerful boy he once was, his bright laughter once again echoing through Villa Rossi. We always tried to create a safe and loving environment for him so he could forget the painful memories and grow into a strong and kind man. Alessandro's and my life finally returned to a semblance of peace, like gentle summer mornings on the Tuscan hills. We held a small, intimate wedding ceremony in the upper garden of Villa Rossi, with Nana Elena and a few close friends in attendance. This time, there were no judgmental whispers, no scrutinizing glances, only sincere blessings and radiant smiles under the starry night sky. Looking at Alessandro standing beside me, holding my hand tightly, his eyes filled with love and gratitude, I knew I had found true happiness in this land. We had weathered the darkness together, and our love had grown stronger than ever, like the ancient olive trees that stubbornly clung to the earth through countless storms. But deep within my heart, I would never completely forget what had happened. The scars of the past would always remain, a quiet reminder of human cruelty and the power of truth. I knew we would always have to be vigilant and protect our happiness, but I also believed that with our love and trust in each other, we could overcome any obstacle beneath the vast Tuscan sky. And sometimes, in the quiet of the late night, when the chirping of crickets echoed from the vineyards, I would remember the moment Leo stood before the microphone during that ill-fated wedding. His small but courageous voice had exposed the darkness, bringing light to the deepest shadows of the Rossi family. It was the innocence and bravery of a child that had saved my family and brought justice to those who had been hurt beneath the Tuscan sky. It was a profound reminder of the power of truth and love, forces that can conquer any darkness.